Good afternoon. This is County Judge Bob Hebert talking to you again from the Emergency Operations Center in Richmond, Texas. I have some important information to pass out to folks that are still impacted by the flood disaster that we're experiencing. First of all, behind the Barker Reservoir, all areas above the 98-foot elevation contour are now free of all evacuation orders. Areas at or below the 98-foot contour are subject to a mandatory evacuation order with law enforcement discretion. What that means is we don't want you in there because we consider it dangerous from Richmond. But officers on the scene, if you tell them where you need to go, if they believe you can get there safely, they can adjust and waive the mandatory requirement and allow you to enter. We're doing this because, again, of our concern about manhole covers that are reported by the Army to have been removed by the initial flood surge entering the Barker Reservoir. We don't know where these manholes are, but if they're underwater, it could be dangerous. But law enforcement can determine if it's safe for you to enter. You may have to walk across a series of yards to get to your property, and you may have to cross the street if there's water there in a particular area. But abide by what law enforcement on scene tells you, and we'll get you in there as quickly as local circumstances allow. Again, if you're above 98 foot, you're out of all evacuation orders. Since you don't know, I'll give you a list here, and then our interactive map at fbcoem.org will give you instant information on your address if you use it. The sections that are included in the mandatory evacuation order with law enforcement discretion are Canyon Gate, Cinco Ranch, sections 1 through 8. Cinco Ranch Greenway Village, section 11, north of Windmill Bluff Lane and east of and including lots along Hollow Branch. Cinco Ranch Greenway Village, section 12, southeast of Pineberry Lane. And Cinco Ranch South Park, section 1. That constitutes those that are still under the mandatory evacuation order with law enforcement discretion. All other sections, subdivisions, and portions of that community are free of any evacuation order, and citizens are free to come and go as they please. Now, an updated report on the Stavinoha Bridge at 99. We still can't get down to see what's happening at the abutment, but preliminary inspection of the pier by laser indicates that there's no movement on the pier. We'll have a sonar team in here first thing in the morning, and instead of waiting for the river to get down, we'll be able to see the soil conditions in and around that abutment in the morning by sonar. If that sonar test is positive and there's no erosion or undercutting of the abutment, and a retest of the elevation with the laser to reconfirm what they found today, we could have that highway open sometime tomorrow. If the sonar testing is inconclusive or shows significant erosion around the abutment, it will be, in all probability, will remain closed until the water recedes significantly so we can get an I-zone evaluation of the conditions around that abutment. If there is erosion around the abutment, the bridge will remain closed pending a full engineering inspection once the river gets back within its banks. And in my opinion, it will remain closed for some time because we'll have to do the design and do the construction to reinforce and support the abutment, as well as complete the erosion mitigation project we have going on around the pier section itself right now. So it's closed. Keep your fingers crossed, it may open tomorrow afternoon after we get the sonar results back, but any negative results in this process could extend the closure of the bridge. And we'll keep you posted immediately to let you, immediately after we find out the facts of any change in that condition on the bridge. But the work is going on right now to see if we can reopen it. Debris. There's a lot of debris out there. There's a lot of debris in my neighborhood. Some of my neighbors have had water in their homes, and I'm saddened by that. I I was blessed. We had water in our backyard where we've never seen water before, but it didn't make it into any of the buildings. Those that have water in their home, though, have a debris problem. We're going to pick it up, but there are a few things you need to understand. First of all, don't bag your debris. You can go again to fbcoem.org and you can enter debris in the search box on the home page and click enter, and it will take you to the debris instructions. These instructions are required by TECQ and by FEMA. TCEQ will not permit us to take any household waste to a landfill. What happens if you use a bag to bag debris? We don't know what's in the bag. If a bag is opened at the landfill and has waste in it, household waste or garbage, we'll be blocked from entering that landfill, and we do not want that. If we get bags, if we attempt to pick bags up, then we have to set up an entirely separate operation to take our trucks to a site, offload the bags, open them up, inspect them to make sure there's no empty pizza boxes or Coke cans or anything like that in there, much less excess steak and veggies from the dinner you had last night. If there's anything that constitutes household waste, we have to separate it by hand, then reload it into the trucks. It can extend the debris removal process by weeks. So we're trying to get there as quickly as we can. It's going to take weeks to get all the debris removed, but please help us by going to the site if you don't have one of our handbills and checking how to separate the debris at the curb, what the instructions are, then open your plastic bags and dump the contents into the appropriate pile. I know most of you are putting debris, just smaller debris, it's easier to handle, but it just won't work for purposes of a speedy debris removal operation. Where we stand right now is we have our TCEQ permits for those landfills we're going to use, so we have entry. We have our trucks coming in. We have a lot of trucks coming in. These trucks operate a claw that will pick up that debris and clean that area, and the intent is to get the area down to where you can easily clean the remainder and put it in a bag and put it out with your garbage to be hauled off. This will take time. It will probably take more than one round of pickup in your subdivision. We'll be coming back through for at least 3 rounds. So the truck will come through all these subdivisions at least 3 times over a period of weeks to pick up debris. And we'll extend that if there's some circumstance that forces us to extend it. But right now we know we're going to be there at least 3 times. So if you're halfway through the process and the truck comes by, don't panic, it'll be back by. Now, just so you understand, there's a ramp up to getting us out there. We will have trucks in the field tomorrow, but they will be in small numbers. We must certify each one of these trucks as they come in and weigh them in and measure them. The purpose for this is that the federal government is picking up these expenses, or most of them, through reimbursement, state and federal government. They require us to audit the performance of these contractors and subcontractors to avoid fraud. So it takes time to measure the empty weight of these trucks, and that's what we go on by empty weight. Once we know the empty weight, when they bring a load in, we weigh them again, subtract the empty weight from the total weight, and that's what the contractor gets paid on. So it delays the process by a couple days. We'll have a few trucks out tomorrow. They'll be working in easily accessible areas. We'll have more trucks out the next day. By Friday, we should have all of our assets deployed, picking up debris. And we're set up in different quadrants. We're not starting at one end of the county and working through. We're actually working from locations that allow us to be active in each area of the county simultaneously. But there's a lot of debris out there. We have many, many hundreds of homes, thousands of homes more damaged in this flood event than we had in the Memorial Day flood of 2016, which is our previous high. And be patient, we'll be there. Follow the rules. Don't block the roads. If you have cars parked in your subdivision streets, remember this, these are big trucks that come through, and if there's cars parked in the streets, you need to figure out a way to move them, certainly by Friday. Get them up in the garage, get them somewhere, just so there's a path where that large truck can come through and get to your debris. If there's a car parked between the truck and the debris, he will not stop. If there are two cars parked in the street and he can't get the truck through, he can't come in. So use your common sense in handling this debris. I know it's an exhausting task, but we'll get through it. I commend all the volunteers that are out there helping their neighbors, and that's what we need to focus on now. If you can help your neighbor muck his house and plug his house and get the debris out to the curb, do so. I'm sure God will bless each and every one of you for pitching in. We want everybody to recover or get back to a point of recovery as quick as possible, and we'll be working towards that goal. There are a few areas out in the county that are still unsafe, mostly around our rivers, where we have some of these farm roads out there that have 2, 3, 4 feet of water over them. We have voluntary evacuations in our river areas, but I again urge folks traveling to pay attention to barricades. Don't go around a barricade and take your car into high water. That barricade is there to warn you. Just consider it's law enforcement with their hand up. Turn around, don't drown. Let's stay safe. We're almost through the disaster part of this and into full recovery. Don't want to lose anybody at this late date. God bless all of you. Thank you very much.